All right, take two. Next one is going to be just a color bars and a beeping sound for technical difficulties. So, Facebook being Facebook, we had a little bit of a glitch there, and apparently our video had issues. If I have to, I'll do this whole thing like this, if it helps. So, picking up where we left off, thank you for tuning in. It has been a very long time since we've done one of these, but we've been extremely busy. I'm looking at our board of releases, which we've now moved over here. Anybody who's been to the studio, so they used to come in and try and look over there. Now we put it behind the door, so that when we open the door, they can't see it. Anyway, we have been releasing a whole bunch of decor stuff, a lot of cool magnets, new wall plaques and things like that, and have been in heavy development on a whole bunch of other stuff that's coming soon. This is, like all of our Facebook Live videos, a Q&A. Today we actually went ahead and posted a couple of things early to get people to ask questions. We've got 2 full pages worth of questions. If you happen to be watching live, please feel free to put your questions in the comments. I'll probably remind you a bunch of times here. And I'll also say this, if you're watching this live or otherwise, please consider liking and subscribing, as the kids say. And give us a follow. If you like what we do, it's the best way to hear about what's coming up. It's the best way to hear about new releases, about sales, about all the cool things we're working on. So let's see here. What has happened since the last time we did one of these? We've had a few releases in the wood plaque department. I'll pull those up because I happen to have these right here. So the Mandalorian Crest. Rob, let me know if I'm getting any kind of glare.
Nope, we're all good.
Okay, so this is a beautiful piece of art by Chris Trevis. We also do a 27-inch glossy bar table for this as well, a cafe table that's really cool. And this is recreated from really good stills of the original armor and things like that from the Lucasfilm Image Archives. Got the correct number of leaves and grain, whatever you want to call those, tines on the grain of wheat there. And then, of course, for any guitarists out there, the classic Fender F. Always love that little detail. We also, this I like. This to me is like very us. This is when you start getting on the border of stealth geek. You put this on your wall and it just looks like some kind of random modern art piece. But if you're in the know, you kind of do the Boba Fett nod. The little like when Bush has the thermal detonator. So this is, for anybody that is in the know, is Boba Fett's kill stripes from his helmet. And this was something Rob did the art for, and it's based on the, let's see here, Empire Strikes Back version of this, although we did clean up a little bit because there's a section in the Empire one that's got a big chunk taken out, and it just would have looked a little weird on the art. But yeah, so that's another cool one. That's on the site now. All of these came out just before the Book of Boba Fett show, although these are really classic based. And then this is also the ESB version of the Mythosaur skull from Boba's arm. We all called it Bantha skull as a kid. Feel free to give me some hate in the comments for that. I don't know why. We always seem to get hate, but trust me, when we were kids, this was a Bantha skull for everybody. And I don't know how or why that happened, but that was the case. And this is, again, really sharp art based on the actual Empire props, not just the random kind of clip art versions you see around there, and a really cool piece. These things, what's nice about them is those are, they're great priced items. They're great ways to just bring a little bit of Star Wars into your office or home, and I really like that we're doing elements of these things. It's not just a poster of Boba Fett or a picture of Darth Vader. These are things for people in the know. These are things for our kind of fans. Speaking of in the know, can you see the desk too with this?
Yeah, pull this back a little bit though.
Okay.
More towards you.
So, so some of the latest magnets. This is known as the Separation Collection because they wouldn't let us call it Limbs of Star Wars, which we didn't really want to call it. But the first 3 are out. There are technically 3 more coming in this wave, and then that'll cap this series for now. So starting, I'll go this way. I'll go chronological. So C-3PO's arm from when the Tusken Raiders knocked him down the dunes in the Junlin Wastes. Yeah. There's a noticeable gap right here, maybe, for folks in the know. And then from Empire Strikes Back, the Wampa's arm. This is one of the bigger magnets that we've ever made. Really well detailed. Was it Sean Fields that did this one? Or was that? I don't know. It's been a little while.
Yeah, it's been a while.
But he's got a good amount of fur on both sides. These all have that classic bronze and silver look we've been doing for them. And of course, Luke's hand and lightsaber, which I can't believe we were allowed to do, but frankly, I'm glad we have. And this probably would have a nice companion from Return of the Jedi, I think. Maybe someday. Father's Day is coming. All of these are available now. There are more coming. This has been a really fun series. I like that, again, we're exploring the sort of oddball stuff out in the periphery of Star Wars and not just doing your usual things. And speaking of oddball things, let's pull two out of Jabba's palace here. So first up, are you good on the table, or do you want to?
No, we're good. So
first up is the Rancor gargoyle from Book of Boba. And this Sean Fields definitely did sculpt, because I remember that. We've been busy. This is based on the gargoyles on the sides of Boba Fett's throne, on top of Jabba the Hutt's throne, that used to be Bib Fortuna's throne. It's all very complicated now. But in our modern Disney Plus world, this is a really cool piece, and it's something that I like because it just is... it's another one of those elements. And they're really good at doing that faux bronze look here. This guy's got tons of patina on him. He's got lots of highlights. The team here hand paints every one of these magnets. So you're not, you're ordering something like this. This is not coming to us in giant pallets full of pre-made stuff that was done overseas or anything like that. Every single one of these is poured by hand, sanded, magnets glued in by hand painted in multiple layers, clear coated, and then carefully wrapped by hand and put in a box that was assembled by hand with a sticker with a SKU written by hand. It is very much from our hands to yours. This is stuff that we're all putting a lot of love and effort into, and it's really cool seeing them in people's collections. I love seeing, we saw someone who had our R2-D2 holo projector magnet, in his car, which was real cool. We've seen all kinds of fridge shots. If you have photos of any of our stuff, we love seeing that. So please send them in. You can email them to us. You can send them to, post them as responses to our posts on social media, or you can message us there. Email is always the best way for that. Sometimes Instagram likes to hide messages from us. But anyway, here is, I believe, was this the latest magnet release?
Yep, that's the latest.
So, I'm not even going to say what this is. I don't know, are we getting comments? Does anybody, feel free to put in the comments if you know what this is. And of course it's cheating now because we've already released it, but I'm sure someone saw this and immediately knew what it was. So not part of the separation collection, although it does have a little separated bit there. This is a 2-pack based on something that I've always loved from Return of the Jedi, the great moment in the movie, just waiting to see for the first person to say what it is. Anyway, while we're waiting for that, thank you everybody for tuning in again. If you are watching live, please make some comments with any questions you have. We're going to go through and answer. We have a ton of them to answer already, and I'll get through as many as I'm physically allowed to.
And we got a bunch of people with the
so they've guessed it. Terrific. Your prize is a big pat on the back. So yes, this is the Rancor door switch, the gate control switch from Return of the Jedi, from the Rancor pit below Jabba's palace. The cool thing here is, of course, the little toothless skull that Luke picked up off the ground and threw. This guy actually even has a name I don't know if it's still technically canon. I think it was in the old Tales from Jabba's Palace book, and if that's the case, then it probably isn't canon right now. But we had a couple of people comment and be like, "Oh, that's so and so," which was, very typical of the Star Wars family. All right, I've cleared all of those away. I think we can kind of get to questions. Where do you want to start, Rob?
The beginning.
All right, then.
All right, we have a question
with,
from...
sorry.
All right, so Robert W. He says, excited to find out about new products and when I will possibly be getting my Salacious.
That's a great question, Robert W. Thank you very much. We are very excited to tell you about new products. We've been working so hard on new stuff. And there's a lot of stuff we actually wanted to release, as far back as 5 or 6 months ago, but we've been asked to hold some things for Celebration, and so I think Star Wars Celebration is probably the chance for folks to learn more about what's coming. The other question was Salacious Crumb. Those are actually well underway. So I believe our estimate on the website is to start shipping those it was either late spring or early summer, and then ship through the summer and into the fall. We're going to be making 150 of them, all in the USA, all by hand, all hand painted. Just like from the smallest thing we do to the biggest, everything gets a ton of handwork. The first, I want to say 24 of them are already cast painted, pre-assembled, and not painted, but base colored. So my guess is right after Celebration, we'll probably start the more of the production run on those. And in the meantime, we're just building up castings and getting base colors on stuff. So once Celebration is clear, we're going to dive into that. I would say by June, the earliest people on the list will start seeing theirs. And then through the summer, we'll be doing them in waves of, 12 or 24 at a time, I would say.
All right, JL asks, the amount of research you put into all these pieces must be massive. How do you get so much detail? Your Chewie busts, for example, have gotten better on each version. Is it the research, or is it just learning new ways to make it?
Well, thank you, Jay. Well, first off, that means a lot to us because we're striving to improve with every piece we put out. And we are, when it comes to research, we're a bit nuts with it. When it came to Chewie, they likened my approach to Chewie's hair to someone that was like a conspiracy theorist with all the red yarn and things like that. Like I had a 6-foot table spread with all different types of fibers and things like that when we were working out the blends for Chewie's hair color. And then we would bring those blends to the Luxem archives up at Skywalker Ranch and compare them to the original suits, compare them to the original masks, and try and do everything we could to get these as close as possible to the originals. In terms of the Chewies getting better, well, again, thank you. The team has luckily gotten the opportunity to make a lot of them now. Between the stuff we've done for Lucasfilm back when we were doing their tour suits, the stuff for Adam Savage or General Giant when we made those, the first run of the signature series that we did here, which became the Peter Mayhew Tribute Edition, and then now are the life-size figures and the extra large size bust that we do. You can't do something that many times and not improve a little along the way, or at least I hope. But there are little things we learn each time, and we definitely improve our production, the sort of like producibility of these things as we go. So thank you. Good question. Very, very nice of you to say.
All right. Terry asks, is there going to be a larger wall-hanging version of the Throne Rancor like the Magnet?
We hadn't thought about that, but it's certainly a possibility. I think the challenge with that one is just the physical mass of that piece. I guess it would depend on how big we do it. If you want, put a quote in the comments. Did you want to see that 12 inches tall? Do you want to see that 18 inches tall? Most of our wall hanging stuff is 18 inches, but I think that'd be a lot for something like that. But maybe a 12 or a 14 inch version might be neat to do. Maybe hollow cast or foam filled. Neat idea. Thanks.
All right, another one from the comments, a little off topic, but what's your favorite toy in the Dolph case behind you? That's from Jeff.
They can see all the way
Yeah,
up
you
there.
can
All
see
right,
some of
let's
that,
see
yeah.
here. So there's a lot of fun stuff in there. These are Rob and I each have a Detolf for just like a couple of fun things. If I'd say right now probably the Bionic Bigfoot. I'm a sucker for Andre the Giant. I'm a sucker for anything that came out, in that late 70s era. You could probably see the Bionic Bigfoot is surrounded by other Andre the Giant figures. But, Robbie the Robot is a close second. And that's one of those things, you ever see the meme where it's like, oh, if I ever win the lottery, I won't tell you, but there'll be signs. Like, there will be a giant life-size Robbie the Robot behind me someday, and it'll just be like, oh, Tom's doing all right.
Going back to Terry's question about the Rancor, he actually meant the towel holder, like the one on the throne.
Oh, sorry. So the old Jabba's Palace gargoyle. That would be an interesting thing to do more of a proper replica version of and do it full scale, which is probably about the right size. I don't know that we would do something much, much bigger than that. The towel ring one does make a nice, just plain wall piece. Like we've had people where they bought that and just put it behind their various Jabba collectibles and things
curtains.
like that. Yeah. True. Like curtain ring or something. But yeah, it's something to consider. Thanks.
All right, Cam asks, any fun plans for Ahsoka?
Don't know. we don't always get the early look that I think people might expect that licensees get, but as soon as we see the show, we'll certainly look at it like we've done with all the others.
Another question, but a nice comment from James. He says, digging those separation magnets. Can't wait to add the next 3 to the collection.
Thank you, James. And you won't have to wait long.
All right, where are we here now? Frank P. is asking, any new items for May the 4th?
So nothing new on May the 4th, although, anybody who follows along with us knows it's really rare that we do sales. And really your 2 best bets at getting us for a sale would be May the 4th and Black Friday right after Thanksgiving. So I would just say, if you like our decor stuff in particular, check back on May the 4th. And that would probably be a good day to, maybe look for a little bit of savings on certain pieces.
All right, Steve B. asks, what's the one thing you've been able to work on, see, or touch that has blown your mind?
One thing?
Right.
Man. Wow. So, if I had to, it's almost impossible. We are so ridiculously lucky at this shop that every day we come in, and between the 2 businesses, one, with Tom Spina Designs, where we're doing restoration on these original film props, and Regal, where we're doing all this licensed Star Wars stuff. Every day is Wonderland when it comes to a prop fan. Certainly the work we did for Skywalker Ranch Archives, restoring pieces for them, was pretty mind-blowing. About the only piece we've been allowed to talk about on that one has been Max Rebo, the costume, which that was pretty mind-blowing just for the before and after and for what we were able to do with it. The original Muff Tack, which we worked on for my dear friends Bob and Kathy Burns, that was a really special project. The American Werewolf in London, restoring that, which was something I, kind of did myself hands-on. That original wolf from the werewolf movie, like that's crazy to even think about. Those are just a very small few of, a really fortunate run of dream pieces to put in front of us. And yeah, I can't believe that we've gotten our hands on this stuff. I can't believe how many pieces we've been able to, research and measure and Pantone and scan and all of those other things in the process of everything we've been preparing and everything we're doing. So great question. Fun. Thank you.
We got a few people like Craig M asking, when's the next concept maquette coming out? And also Christian on the comments, he just asks, Tom, which Star Wars maquette from the original trilogy is your personal favorite, and which one has not yet been released?
Ooh, okay. So there's tons of those maquettes, and I mean, hold on. We just talk about personal favorites. This is a magazine that just happens to be on my desk at the moment. I don't know how many people bought this, random Smithsonian magazine just because it had a couple of photos from the Lucasfilm archives. I mean, this is what, the 1980s and 90s was for us. We would find some book that had a picture of a prop, one or two new pictures you had never seen before, a behind the scenes photo, and you would buy the whole book just for that picture. So yeah, I mean, those maquettes are near and dear to my heart. I think if I had to pick a favorite, oh man, how could you do this? Is it Christian?
It is Christian.
Christian. I have a soft spot for, there's a Gamorian Guard standing. I don't know how well I can point him out. I mean, these are probably two pretty close favorites right here. So you got the Gamorian Guard, who's got that great standing posture. He's got that lean forward, like he just took a step. The body move on this thing is just out of this world. The sculpt is just beautiful and full of character. And then right next to him is the Luxem, which is such a goofy, muppety thing. I love it. I would say Droopy McCool is probably another one. Droopy's kind of simple when it comes to some of the other maquettes, but he has so much energy, and he literally, he just looks like his name's gotta be Droopy. Like he's just like, huh. Those are three really, really probably big faves. But yeah, Christian, that's like asking someone to choose their children. Like I don't think I could ever do that. What was the other question about the maquettes? Just
when is the next concept maquette coming out?
Very soon. I would say that's a line we're going to put a lot of focus on. I think we've gotten to spend a ton of time with the original pieces. We've gotten to use every bit of technology to research and capture those, and I think we're excited to do more with that. In terms of when, I think, like a lot of stuff, you're going to want to keep an eye on us in late May and see what gets revealed.
Brandon says the Max Rebo maquette with him sitting would be so good to reproduce.
Yeah, I like that one with all the little red balls around. The red ball jet was what they called it. That was, according to Phil, that was... gosh, why am I losing his name? Directed The Rocketeer. Joe Johnston. That was Joe Johnston's name for him because of the Red Ball Jet sneakers, and he had red balls on the thing, and I don't know how that, that just those connections thing. But yeah, Phil sculpted that one. It's a beauty. I love that one really showcases that Max doesn't have legs, or doesn't have arms. He's just two limbs up and over and a butt, and that's it. He's not sitting in something. He doesn't have a diaper. He is just this weird two-limbed creature with an elephant snoot.
All right, Sean G says, a Chewie bowcaster was previously talked about. Will there ever be lightsabers available in the future?
Here, if you need to mark across anything. Chewie bowcaster was talked about. That's a cool idea. That's a cool piece. Right now, probably unlikely that we would be doing lightsabers. That's something that's pretty firmly in EFX's territory. And Lucasfilm really believes strongly in them as a licensee, and they are the primary prop replica licensee for Star Wars. So that's where you're going to want to talk. That's who you're going to want to reach out to about anything lightsaber related. The Chewie bowcaster has been discussed, and that is something that would fall under us. And stay tuned.
Brian E asks, are the gaffy sticks close?
Very. Like I mentioned, there's some things we've wanted to put out there for a while. We've been asked to hold a few things back, and we're trying to. I would just say, check back in late May for a lot of cool stuff. I don't know. I couldn't say gaffy sticks. I could not say that, but I would say late May, you're gonna learn a lot about what we have in store.
I mean, speaking of May, you want to tell them that we'll be at Celebration?
Oh yeah. In case it hasn't been clear, so we are going to be at Star Wars Celebration. Write this number down: 2518. That's booth 2518. We have about a 50% bigger booth than we had at the last two shows. We have been deep in planning for this. The team is working their fingers to the bones. They're all covered in paint right now, trying to finish some of the stuff that we have in the works for the show. It's going to be an insane few weeks between now and the show, and especially between now and when we have to ship everything for the show, which is a little earlier. This is a crew that's going to be working overtime every day in the weekends and things like that. So I definitely owe them all a debt of gratitude. I think you guys do too as well in the end of it. And I think the stuff we're going to have at the show is going to be really cool, really fun. Stay tuned here. If you are not already subscribed to us, please subscribe to Regal Robot on your favorite form of social media. Wait a minute. We have a contest going right now. Why? We should have led with this. Hey, do you like money? Do you want to win $100 in Regal Robot cash? We actually have a contest running that ends tonight, and it is, I believe, top prize is a $100 gift certificate to Regal Robot. Second prize is a $50 gift certificate to Regal Robot, and the third prize is a $25 gift certificate to Regal Robot. They can be used towards anything on the site. We're going to choose the winners from our newsletter mailing list. So, if you are subscribed to our newsletter, you already have a chance to win. If you're not subscribed to our newsletter, shame on you. Go do it now, and then maybe you might win stuff, and that's pretty cool. So yeah, all you have to do is go to our website, go to the news page, and the first entry tells you all about the contest. And if you just want to enter, go to the main page of the website, scroll down, and where it says enter your name and email address to get our newsletter, that's all you do, and now you're entered. And then, maybe you could win something cool.
All right, Andrew N. says, will you be releasing any original Trilogy replicas this year?
Yes.
I mean. Rob K. asks, can we expect any more droid busts in the future?
I think that's a safe bet.
Yeah, I think so.
We love droids. It's funny. We're trying to, we definitely want to do more busts, and we have, I keep looking at the board, we have more stuff in the works. I want to be careful that people don't mistake, because our name is Regal Robot, that all we do is robots. So I want to be careful that we don't follow CZ3 with another robot followed by another robot. So if we do more droid busts, they'll probably be spaced out a little bit, but we love the droids. There's a couple of them right off the top of my head, 2 or 3, that we would very much love to work on. So, stay tuned. Join the mailing list. You'll find out.
All right, David A. This is a multi-part question. I want to try and tighten it up a bit.
Give me one at a time.
Yeah, so he's asking how many high-end products over $4,000 will be announced and available for pre-order in 2022?
So we're already almost halfway through 2022, which is crazy. By the time Celebration comes around, realistically, we have 6 months left in this year. And based on the way we've been asked to put things this year, that's where everything that in 22, that's where it's all going to fall. We're conscious of the fact that people don't have an unlimited number of funds or shelf space, so we don't want to overload folks. We want to make sure that everybody has a chance to get the stuff we're doing. And so we've been a little careful in how we've scheduled the next 6 months after Celebration, so that there's a mix of sort of smaller, medium, and large stuff. What I would say is this: the large stuff that I see planned for 2022 and even into 2023, none of it seems to be breaking that $4,000 mark. Last year we had 2 of those. That was a pretty unusual year. Salacious is a big replica with a ton of work and a ton of development that went into that had to get covered. So that's where that pushed. The holochess set was a massive undertaking in terms of both the development of it and the production of it. And we had people like Phil Tippett involved and things like that, and all of the related things that come along with something like that in terms of where that price happens to be. Every time we make a product, it's put out at the best possible price we can get it. Most often I'll tell folks, you would probably be shocked if you saw what the margins are on this stuff, and not in the way that most people think. Everybody looks like, oh, they're making 10 times that. It's like, not really. But I think that when we're putting this stuff out, we look at the product first, we look at what we're trying to do, how do we make this the best it can possibly be, and the cost just is the cost at that point. There's times where we've said like, all right, well, what do we have to do to make this a $4,500 replica instead of a $7,000 replica? But for the most part, we make the piece the way we're going to make it. We make it the best we possibly can, and the price happens to be the price. In terms of like your original question, though, everything I'm seeing on the board is under that $4,000 mark. So, so then how many of those pieces? None for 2023 or 2022. Really well into 2023 because we're scheduled to about mid-2023 right now.
He also asked, is there any plan for new products between the $1,000 to $3,000 range?
No. I would say yes. I'm thinking there's 2 or 3 of those that are probably going to fall in that range. Oh, well, certainly. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah.
The answer is yes.
Exactly. Certainly the and then that one and no, there's quite a few that are going to be in that range. Yes, and in fact some of those will probably be announced. Let's say late May. Maybe time to check in on that.
All right. In the last part of his question, he's asked,
how many questions do you have, David?
It's a 3-parter for David.
Oh, okay.
Will 12?
I'm sweating here. All right.
Will 12-month payment plans become standard?
Well, let me ask you this: do you want if this could be a Q&A both ways, right? So why don't you guys tell us what sort of payment plans do you like? We certainly try to time our payment plans with our production runs. So if we think that with Salacious, we knew that we would be getting to him in the spring and summer of this year, we put him on a 12-month plan so that we'd be finishing up everybody's plans, and then in the next couple months after that, we'd be able to ship them all. I think 12-month plans are a little on the long side just for our accounting, but for some items they make a lot of sense. Certainly bigger things like the tauntauns we do, the big life-size tauntaun busts. That's something we've been thinking about extending that plan. The big Chewies, I think right now we're at 8 or 10 months. That's something that could potentially go longer. When it comes to your $1,000 to $3,000 range there, David A, with all the questions, that could be something better served by a 6 or an 8 month plan. But it's certainly something we can look at. And feel free to comment if you're watching this video live. Comment if you're watching it after the fact. Here's another kind of question on that. How do you guys feel about overlapping plans at that point? Because, if we have a 12-month plan on a bust, but another bust comes out in 5 or 6 months, would you rather be wrapped up on the first bust and do, this is a tongue twister here, wrapped up on the first bust and do, maybe a shorter plan, or do you mind if they overlap a bit if they're lower cost every month? I'd be very curious to hear what folks have to say about that.
Yeah, Sean G actually just wrote 12-month payment plans are a nice option to have. So,
okay. I wonder if there's a way, I know with Partially, who's our partner on the payment plans, there is sometimes an option to let people choose the length of the plan when you're setting it up. I just don't know what that does to the accounting folks here who are already horribly overworked. This is... unfortunately, not nearly enough of this stuff is automated, and poor Christine and Katie are pulling their hair out sometimes trying to keep track of all these hollow chest figures and their silly, silly names.
All right, Luke says overlapping plans are fine, and apparently he's a milestone follower, so he must know what he's talking about.
Thank you, Luke. And also, is his last name? No, I'm not going to say it.
And also Christian says 12 are nice, so higher price things become available. Wouldn't mind multiple plans. So
okay.
Good.
Yeah, that's stuff we'll keep looking at. Thank you. Appreciate the feedback. And again, if you're not watching this live, still comment. We read the comments and we'd love to hear any of your thoughts on this.
All right, Perminder G actually has a few questions, both in
Another multi-question.
Well, they're on the comments and on the sheet,
Okay,
so
okay.
we'll give him a break. All right, we'll go with the one that he previously asked was, can we expect to see an Ewok bust?
Let's see here. I would say this. It's not on the board, but it's not out of the realm of possibility, and it's definitely something we've done a ton of research on, and certainly, I mean, here, I'll give you a little story. I personally have had a long history with Ewoks.
Romantically.
I dated a Jawa. Let's see here. You go back to the mid-'90s, I was helping decorate a Muck Time Toys in New York. And I decked out Paul's place with, it started with just a couple of Tusken Raiders. I made them and fixed up some Jawas, and then there was a Wampa, and then there was some Ewoks, and then there was more Ewoks, and more Ewoks, and more Ewoks. There were so many Ewoks. But it was cool. There was like a kind of a wicket. There was a guy with a bolo over his head, a bow and arrow guy, drumming on a stormtrooper, drumming on a scout trooper.
I remember seeing
those.
those.
The guy with the glider.
Yeah. I saw those before I even met you.
That's right.
That's a long time ago.
But so, there was all that, and then shortly after that, Stuart Freeborn retired, and he had all of these leftover parts of Ewoks and things like that. And he had some that were regular masks from the movie that I got to restore. And then he had these leftover parts that Prop Store came to me to finish and to turn into full Ewoks. So I would take an original Stuart Freeborn Ewok skin and teeth and eyes and ears and fur, all original to the movie, but just never finished for production, and take all those production materials and turn them into a completed mask. And that was a really, really cool gig. Like, that was a very satisfying thing to do. So I like Ewoks. I know them well. We've done tons of research on the ones in the archives, and, stay tuned.
He also asks, will any of the items releasing this year be signature editions?
Yes.
Simple answer.
Did the mail arrive yet?
Lastly, he asks, can you add a congratulations on winning this prize note to future orders?
I believe is it Ken that's always winning our prize too?
We should make a downloadable
file. We'll make a downloadable file, and you can just print it out, and we'll have my name signed on it and everything. Hey, if that's what helps you guys bring this stuff home, we're here for you. We understand.
We got a few people asking the same question, so I'll make this a broad comment and question for it about international shipping, and will that change in the future?
As much as I would love it to, it is unlikely to change anytime in the near future. Just to sum up for anybody who doesn't already know, our Star Wars license is like all licenses, has a territory. Our territory where we're permitted to ship is within the U.S., U.S. Army bases, Guam, and Puerto Rico. If you have a shipping address in any of those locations, we're happy to ship to you. Anyone, anywhere can purchase, but we're only permitted to ship to those locations. So if you want to purchase from anywhere in the world, that's great. You've just got to send it to a U.S. address. I wish I had a better option for you. In addition to the licensing complications, obviously there's the cost to consider. With our other business, we ship around the world when we're doing stuff. There's some stuff that we ship that, some of the things we make, I'm thinking like those Tauntaun busts and stuff like that, could cost, half as much as the bust itself just to ship it. Even on some of the small stuff, it could cost you more than the price of a magnet to send that overseas. But, we definitely appreciate the interest. We know there are folks overseas that want our stuff, and that means a lot to us. I wish we could send it to you directly. Unfortunately, it's just on the licensing side, not something that's going to change anytime soon.
All right.
But if you see us at Celebration, anyone can purchase at Celebration. So if you're from overseas and you're coming in for the show, please stop by the booth. You can shop to your heart's content, and your wallet's not.
All right, our buddy Ken B says 12 months and overlapping is good.
Okay, thank you, Ken. And congratulations again on winning this prize.
And to stay on that topic, Sharon B asks, have you considered longer payment plans for bigger items like the Tauntaun and the life-size Chewie? And also, what else are we going to see in the life-size format?
So yes, absolutely, and I think those are two that are really probably primed for going to 12-month, and that's something we'll look at. I'm writing it down right now. So if anybody's been looking at the 1-to-1 Chewie bust that we do, the big one, or the 1-to-1 Tauntaun bust, the really big one, yeah, I would say, probably in the next few days we'll knock those both up to 12 months. That sounds like a great idea. They'll also both likely be at Celebration for anybody who wants to see one up close. We already have the Tauntaun made. We just wrapped up, I think 6 of them is about how they do those in batches. So we've got 6 life-size Tauntauns just finished now. I think 3 are spoken for. So if you go to the website now, it'll probably tell you how many are available at the moment. Was there another part to that question that I overlooked, or
No, that's
okay?
it.
It's just if it would be for those items.
And
Oh no, was there other life
size format.
So
Correct,
yeah,
correct.
definitely more 1-to-1 coming. Absolutely.
All right.
And check back at Celebration.
going back to Ewoks, Matt M says, "Come on, Tom. The people demand Ewoks."
Matt, see someone. You've got a problem. No, that's fine. Yeah, we appreciate it. There is a real there's a real thing that comes in both the limitation of creating this stuff, because every one of these things that we put out takes months and months of work to get off the ground. Not just the physical creation of the thing and making prototypes and molds and whatever else, but the research, going to the archives, looking at the real thing, scanning, whatever elements come into actually putting the thing physically together, and then just all of the licensing hurdles that come along with any product that you put out. I think folks would be really surprised at how much time gets spent on that. But there's this limitation that we're discussing now with the payment plans and with spacing out products and stuff. I would just say this: the folks who like life-size stuff like busts. Assuming that busts are going to range $2,500 to $3,500, possibly for this kind of stuff, or even $2,000 to $4,000 if you want to go really on the broadest spectrum of something really crazy and something a little simpler. How many of those could you absorb in a year? How many of those do you, how often do you want to see stuff like that come out? Let us know. Talk about it in the comments. Talk amongst yourselves. Ask each other. I'd love to see some discussion of that, and I'd love to hear it. I think, our preference is to space that stuff out a little bit. 1, for the work side of things, but and development, but 2, just to make sure that everybody has a little bit of a chance to recover and then get back into the game for the next one. We certainly don't want to block people out accidentally by putting out too much. But anyway, Ewoks, we know you love them. Thank you.
All right, Jay asked a pretty good question. Does Regal Robot have distributors, or can we only get direct from Regal Robot?
We do. We have a handful. We don't offer every item through our retailers, and that's because some of the items just don't have enough margin built in for wholesale sales. Right now, some of the places you can go, Prop Store has a few of our things because of the lineage and things that we do. You have Secret Compass, who was our first retailer, Shane over there, one of our favorite people. You've got Big Bad Toy Store, one of our bigger retailers, Sideshow, our biggest. There's also Collector Agency and a handful of other smaller retailers. I don't know if we have a complete list or anything like that. There is a retailers page or a wholesale inquiries page on our site. And if you happen to be a specialty store, collectibles, or an e-tailer or something like that, you can always reach out to us by email if you'd like to carry our stuff and see what's available.
Ken B is asking, any Tarkin updates?
Oh boy, this one's on me. Shame on me. I hope so. It's been a little bit of a tough time for me to physically just get my hands in clay. And it seems every time I do get my hands on stuff over there, it's on something other than Tarkin because there's some time crunch. Peter Cushing's my favorite actor of all time. I've sculpted him a couple times in the past. Our life cast was even part of the process for recreating him in Rogue One. I have a life cast that Stuart Freeborn took off of him that is literally the best life cast of him in the world, which is amazing to have. And eventually that is a sculpture I would love to put the finishing touches on and get it through the approval stages, which is its own thing. But for right now, we're focused on a bunch of other stuff, but it's still in the mix. It's still something I'd love to do. And I someday maybe you can get one with a certificate that says you won the prize.
All right, Sean G says, spacing out is good. Tough part is not knowing what is around the corner prior to teasers.
I would agree with that. You know what? Do other people agree with that? Do you feel... how far in advance would you like to know about our stuff? Because this is something that is not always up to us. We've been accused of, not accused, so we tend to want to overshare, I think, in this regard. I would much rather give folks as much lead time as I can and tell them as much as we can about what's coming up. So if you want to hear about stuff a year in advance, if you want to hear about stuff 6 months in advance, let us know. And I sincerely would appreciate every comment on this that you can. I'd love to hear your thoughts on it. I'd love to know what would make you guys feel comfortable, what would help you to plan your collecting, to plan your spending with us and or other licensees, and what would help us to bring more things that we make into your collections and homes. So yeah, give us some feedback on that. That's something we'll look back on, when the time comes, when we have some time.
All right, Colin asks, are there any items in the dollar range between magnets and busts coming in 2022?
Between magnets and busts in 2022?
Yes.
Yeah. Yes.
Lots
of items actually in that range. Yeah. And I think, you've got, on the decor side of things, that our cap on decor on the inline, sort of the product-y stuff, not the custom stuff, is around $300. And we have some ideas for stuff in that range to expand that line that has, the Mythosaur skull and the big Mudhorn skull and the silver Mythosaur skull from the Armorer's Workshop. So you're gonna see some stuff there. And then on the collectible side, if we're diving back into Maquette someday, like let's say late May, maybe check back. That's certainly a line that runs in that $400 to $600 range, $400 to $700 range, depending on the piece and stuff like that. And even that might be high on some of the stuff we're looking at. But so there's a bunch there, and then I can think of a few items that are in the 1 to 3 range, a few items that are just over the 3 range, that are a little later in the year. There's, if it's not immediately clear, there's a lot. And there's some really cool stuff in that between the magnets and the big stuff range that's going to show up for Celebration.
Yep.
So we've got exclusives coming for the show too. So definitely stay tuned for that stuff if you like that.
Now Kevin K, he's asking, he's saying, going back to the release schedule, at least 3 to 6 months notice would be key. And he's also asking, with less than 6 weeks away from Celebration, so a notice would be ideal now.
Yeah, we wish we could. I will just say that. As soon as we are able, we will reveal whatever we can for Celebration and what's coming shortly after. I'll say this. When you're a licensee, you've got to do things on someone else's schedule sometimes, and our releases are always teased and talked about as early as we are possibly permitted. So I'll leave it at that. And definitely keep giving us that feedback though, because this is stuff that it would be helpful for us in conversations with others, and we can start to, hopefully in the future we can maybe tease some stuff a little earlier.
Going back to our release schedule, Sean says a year in advance would be great. Helps planning ahead greatly.
Yeah, I think that's fair. Like I said, as soon as we're allowed, we will. If please keep those comments coming. Any other questions? Feel free to hit them in the comments here. Let's see here. Do we have anything else?
Yeah, I have a couple more.
Okay.
Jay's asking if we were ever going to be doing any silicone busts of humans like Luke, Leia, Han.
It's something that's within our license. I don't know that it's something we're looking to necessarily jump into right now. I feel like human busts are never more than 90 or 95% of the way to where they should be. And I've seen some of the best done by some of the best people in the world, and very, very rarely do they top like 95% on that. And then there's so much that goes into even just styling and all of that stuff, and how do you, getting them there and things that go into it. I certainly wouldn't rule it out. We've done lots of that stuff with my other business over the years, tons of realistic one-to-ones and stuff like that, silicone and otherwise. right now, I think we've got plenty to do that isn't that, and I think we've got a soft spot for the monsters and the creatures and the robots and the all the various cool stuff that Phil Tippett and Rick Baker and Stuart Freeborn and all those guys dreamed up. And there's certainly a near endless list of that stuff that we'd love to tackle. So we'll tackle a bunch of that, and then maybe we'll look at that.
Tony D says, I'm a big fan of the Maquette line, love the Tauntaun, hoping you guys continue with that line.
I thank you, Tony D, and your hopes will be rewarded, I think.
And we have a couple people asking about, are we going to see Cantina? Actually, David B asked, are we going to see any Cantina aliens or RA7?
I would love to on both of those. And I think, those are certainly two things in our wheelhouse, and it's no secret to anyone that knows me that Cantina stuff is my favorite. So it's actually interesting to me that we haven't done a Cantina alien yet. And what's really funny is we have a Cantina alien TBD card on our board that keeps getting moved because we get other name stuff or something we've scanned or something we have lineage to where it's just like, oh, we got to get this into the works. And then my poor little Cantina guy moves down the line a little more. But, we've got great sculpts on a bunch of those. Hold on. Some of which I did. Some of which were done by folks here at the shop that, sometimes are sculpted with the original right next to it. Some of them have lineage to the originals because they were done with clay press off of a casting or something like that. A lot of them have lineage to things like the Book of Boba Fett because they've used a few of our alien sculpts in that show. Brian Sipes' team did a beautiful finish work on those. Some of our aliens have been used in Super Bowl commercials and toy commercials and other Lucasfilm videos and events and things like that. So, even our sculpts now have lineage to the shows and commercials and things like that, which is kind of cool in its own way. So, we have a head start on some of that, and I think there's, that's definitely stuff I'd love to do in the future.
All right, the last question I have on my list is from Paul W. Will we see a Jar Jar bust?
I know which Paul that is. Mason Gun? Probably not something coming anytime soon. But we're not 100% anti-prequel. We've been so focused on the OT because that's where we grew up. That's where, all of those behind-the-scenes specials made us do what we're doing now. And I feel like, until we really run through the low-hanging fruit on that, I don't know that we're going to dive too much into it. Jar Jar Bust, hey, I never say never. And if somebody wants to commission one custom someday down the line when we have a little more room in our schedule to take on a big custom.
Paul W.
Yeah, Paul. You never know. But yeah. Right now, I think the Ewok fans would kill me if I put Jar Jar first, though. Those guys are serious.
All right, we are caught up on questions. Maybe just remind them again about Celebration and the contest.
Sure. Okay, contest first. If you are already on our mailing list, the email newsletter on our website, thank you so much. You're already entered. If you're not, please go to our website, scroll down at the bottom of the page on the homepage. You can enter your name and email address to get on our newsletter. And if you do that, you will be automatically entered, if you do it before end of day today, into our contest for up to a $100 gift certificate on our site and some other great prizes. So go check it out. Thank you so much. If you are going to Star Wars Celebration, please visit booth 2518. Also, let's see here. So I don't know the time. There's a scheduled Lucasfilm licensing panel, I believe, that I'm going to be a part of that'll talk about the high-end collectibles category and some of the stuff we have planned. There is a really cool panel I'm going to be able to give where I'm hosting with Amy Ratcliffe and Kirk Thatcher, the amazing creature effects artist who got his start on Return of the Jedi and eventually went on to be a producer and a writer and a director. The punk on the bus in Star Trek 4. Very accomplished Muppet director, which I, of course, respect to no end. And here's something really cool. We're going to have Jason and Gabe from Blast Points Podcast on stage with us for that panel. And we're going to have a lot of fun together talking to Kirk, reliving all his stories about working on Return of the Jedi, and talking about all of the creatures and the maquettes and everything for Return of the Jedi in great detail. Way more detail than anyone needs. That's my kind of panel. I think you guys will like it. That is, I believe, from 2 to 3 p.m. on Sunday in the Twin Suns stage. So get there early. It holds about 850 people or something like that. These panels fill up. Love to see you there. And there's also, I'm doing a podcast panel with Gabe and Michael, which Gabe is Star Wars Replicas on... or Star Wars Replicas reviews on YouTube, I believe. Always have fun chatting with those guys. I'll be there from 5 to 6 on the podcast stage on Saturday, 5 p.m. to 6 p.m. We'll be putting all of this stuff on our page as Celebration gets closer. You'll have my schedule. You'll have the booth number. If you're going to be at the show, one, come by the booth and just say hi. We work really hard over here, and whenever we're building something, we're literally just sitting here thinking about the person that's going to get it. It's never, sure, there's a degree of like, do I think this is good enough? But it's like, is someone going to get this and open it up and love it? Like, that's what we want out of everything that we do. So come by the booth, say hi. We're not going to shake your hands. It's still COVID times. But maybe we'll give you a fist bump, and we'll definitely give you a wave and a smile from under a mask so you won't see it and you'll think we're creeps. But it would just be great to meet you. It would be great to chat. I know so many of you just from online and from the comments, and that's just really cool. It'd be great to put some faces to the name. Some folks I met at Celebration the last time, or even in 2017, and haven't seen them since. So please come by, say hi, come to the panels, find me after the panels and chat for a bit. It's always a good time. We love seeing you guys, and I'm really looking forward to the show just for that reason. And then the other thing would be, that show is going to be your chance to see what we have in store. And there's some stuff that's going to be announced ahead of time. We're going to announce everything as early as we can, and I think about next week, about a week from now, we should have the beginnings of probably the biggest announcement we've ever made. And it's something that...
Don't give it away.
Yeah, exactly. It's something that falls into one of these categories, but we'll give you your first taste of it in about a week. And then in the coming weeks, you'll learn a little more about what it's going to be. And at Celebration, you'll really get to see what's coming. And I just can't wait until we get to do that. So for everybody that's been watching all this time and listening to me yammer on and answer all these Ewok questions, thank you. Thank you so much for tuning in. Please like, subscribe, whatever it is that the kids do these days. Follow us on whatever social media platform is your favorite. Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, Pinterest, etc. YouTube, certainly. And yeah, if you have other questions for us, post them in the comments. If you have other thoughts about any of the stuff we're talking about here, even if it's after the video, we really want to see your comments. We really want to know what you think about things like release schedule, things about teases, and when you want to hear about things, and how much is too much, how much is not enough. Give us all your thoughts. Discuss it amongst yourselves. Fight it out. I'd love to see... to get a little more insight into everybody else's thoughts, because every one of us has a different approach to our collecting. Some of us, it's Bigfoots and Andre the Giant figures and Twinkie the Kid, and plenty of Star Wars stuff that doesn't make it to the office. I just put the fun, goofy stuff here. But we all have different approaches to this thing. We all put our money away different ways. We all plan different ways, and it'd be really cool to get to know how you plan, what you'd like to see from us, and we really just greatly appreciate all your feedback, all the love, everything that you guys have been doing in the meantime, and I just can't wait to see some of you at the show.